parang may nagkaroon ng time na nawala yung self-worth ko.
You know, you have to work to help your husband with the finances, to help prepare finances for your children for their future.
Kasi dito sa Pilipinas, pag age mo ng 35, wala na. Para kasing etsapuera ka na.
And it feels like hindi ko alam kung paano ko mag-gain yung confidence ko. Pag naging mom na sila, parang nawawala na yung career path nila.
Kasi na-fed up ako sa sobrang traffic. So, papasok, dahil madaling araw, either mag-grab ako or mag-aangkas, which is malaki-laki yung expenses.
The time spent with your kids and family are far more important than any job title out there.
Nag-decide ako na maghanap ng online job at nakakuha nga ako. Sobrang saya ko talaga. Kaya tinulungan ko rin yung iba kong mga mommy friends at nagkaroon rin sila ng sarili nilang online job. Kaya doon ako na-inspire at nag-decide na simula ng Filipina home-based moms.
FHMOMS community was created for mothers, for single women, for women professionals and entrepreneurs, for women overseas Filipino workers, for differently abled women, and even for young at heart women. FHMOMS is a women community.
Nung nagsimula yung FHMOMS, hindi ko in-expect na ganito ka magiging malaki. Ngayon, meron na kaming more than 250,000 members nationwide. Dati, ang tingin ng mga tao sa amin, community lang. No? Ngayon, social enterprise na kami with different projects na tumutulong sa mga kababaihan.
We have free webinars about freelancing, entrepreneurship, parenting, and personal growth. We offer online short courses as well as mastery courses with trainers' 1-year support. We also run a scholarship program and an internship program. We also facilitate charity activities where we are joined by community members as volunteers. Job matching program is something they can also look forward to, as well as e-commerce program. And to celebrate motherhood, we also have online bootcamp for kids. We also have the computer rent-to-own program for members who need assistance in acquiring a computer set. Aspire to be a strong-willed, independent woman.
Mas gusto kong maging productive at saka naniniwala ako sa continuous learning.
Inspire other women.
Everyone was uplifting each other. Everyone was trying to help each other. In this world, you have to be more kind. You have to be more helpful because everyone is fighting their own battles, and you have to understand, you have to empathize, and that is what FHMOMS is doing with all the moms out there. Even if you're not a mom, you would feel welcome.
Empower each woman to be in their fullest potential.
And most importantly, Mommy MK and the team model humility and generosity. Talagang ito yung very evident, which impacted me the most. So it gave me the desire to share freely to others what I learned freely from the FHMOMS community. And I've always loved the community, the motive of the community, that is to change the world one mom at a time. Good job, FHMOMS.
Aspire, inspire, empower. Nothing is stronger than a community of women lifting each other up.
To be among women who have genuinely tried to help people. This is something that I feel passionately about, and then this is something that I saw in FHMOMS.
God is good. Kasi parang naturo sa akin itong FHMOMS na pinakita sa akin na kahit nasa bahay ka, kahit nag-aalaga ka ng anak mo, it won't stop na dun ka lang. Yun lang yung pwede mong gawin.
Without this community, I'm not here in this situation. So, FHMOMS po yung nag-guide and nag-mold sa akin to be the best working at home mom I could ever be.
Ang pinakamalaking impact sa FHMOMS sa akin is their quote, which is moving forward, giving back. That's the very essence of FHMOMS eh.
That's what I like about this group kasi we encourage and inspire each other to keep dreaming, to chase our dreams. It's actually a big impact kasi if you are losing hope and wala ka ng gana and all, but because of this page, mapapasana all ka.
Dahil sa online job, natupad ko yung mga pangarap ko at ang pinakapangarap ko na lang ay matupad yung pangarap ng lahat ng mga mommies. Huwag tayong titigil na abutin lahat ng mga pangarap natin, masipagan pa natin at huwag tayong susuko. Kaya kung feeling nyo hindi kayo techie, feeling nyo hindi pasok ang edad nyo para dito sa online freelancing, huwag nyong iisipin yon kasi sobrang daming opportunities ang pwedeng ibigay sa inyo online. At nandito ang Filipina Home-Based Moms para suportahan kayo. Para sa mga naghahanap ng online job at gusto ring matuto pagdating sa online business, you can join Filipina Home-Based Moms Facebook group. My name is MK Bertulfo, CEO and founder of Filipina Home-Based Moms, and our goal is to change lives one mom at a time.
Mga momshies natin, good afternoon po sa inyo, momshies, FH titas, and to everyone na nanonood sa atin live on Facebook and our participants inside the Zoom. So yung mga mommies natin, we still have more slots for you. So please join us as well in our Zoom. Ayan, comment down where you are watching. So, good afternoon, Mami Claire Amano mula pa po sa Muntinlupa City. Si Mami Vea Veloso Brillante, hello po. Si Mami Ann Jimenez, good afternoon. Ayan, and yes, alam niyo ba na we are so blessed because today we have our two guest speakers. Yan. So, ito lang kung kahapon, di ba, we've discussed about promoting reading culture and also the modern and fun way to learn. Today, actually, ang pag-uusapan natin is building agency in independent learners. So ito medyo alarming tong nakuha natin according to an article. I also got this from our sponsor for today. According to the Program for International Student Assessment, or PISA, of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development in 2018, showed Filipino students ranking the lowest among 79 countries in mathematics, science, and reading. Wow! So, di ba, parang nakakalungkot na yung education system and also yung abilities ng mga bata ngayon, ng mga mag-aaral, is talagang nagde-derail, bumababa siya. And the one thing do is, of course, to be hindi kumbaga yung education system itself, but of course ang gawin is to follow and maybe adapt doon sa ginagawa na ng mga high-ranking countries gaya ng Singapore. Ayan. Kaya naman, we have here with us our two guest speakers who will share their expertise and also ano ba yung mga pwedeng makatulong sa atin para mas strengthen yung pagbuo ng pundasyon ng edukasyon ng ating mga anak, ng mga bata ngayon. Kasi they are our future leaders, future, di ba, sabi nga nila, ang kabataan ng pag-asa ng bayan. Kaya naman, it's very important that we also help them na ma-achieve yung quality ng edukasyon that they really deserve. Okay. And now, so let's introduce our guest speakers for today. Ready na ba kayo, mga momshies? Please type in Optimus. Yes, Optimus at our chat box, yung mga nasa Zoom. Optimus sa comment section ng mga nanonood sa atin on Facebook and YouTube. Please type it in if you are ready. Ayan na. Before I welcome guest speakers. So, wow, thank you very much. Nako, napaka-active talaga ng mga mommies natin. Okay, and also over Facebook and YouTube. Congratulations. Thank you very much po. Let me welcome our guest speakers. The first one, alam ko, our first guest speaker is an award-winning and internationally recognized teacher. He's passionate about designing transformative learning experiences in the classroom that enable learners to become active and collaborative creators of knowledge. He has shared his experience and expertise to teachers and school leaders in various conferences and workshops held in the Philippines, Australia, Taiwan, and South Korea, UAE, and Qatar. Wow, world class ang ating mga bigati ng ating mga speakers for today. Our first guest speaker who will be sharing with us the topic, the building agency in learners. We have Mr. Jim Toscano. And now, our second guest speaker, mamaya natin sila i-welcome. Our next second guest speaker naman is a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science graduate, National Certificate 2 in TC Operations, Assessor's Methodology Level 1 and Trainer's Methodology Level 1, MOE IRS Registered, Google Certified Educator Level 1, and a certified Microsoft Office specialist. She is currently in Singapore, our Marshall Cavendish Education Training Executive. Be sharing with us later about Marshall Cavendish Education digital learning products and how it can help our Filipina moms to navigate their child's education. Miss Ana Marie Diaz. Kaya naman, let us now welcome our two guest speakers, Mr. Francis Jim Toscano and Ma'am Ana Marie Diaz. Is yours, sir. And once again, let's welcome our first guest speaker, Sir Francis Jim Toscano. Thank you, sir.
Right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to all parents or mommies out there Let me just share my screen. Can you do a thumbs up in your Zoom? A virtual thumbs up if you can see my screen. Okay. All right. So I see Derek. All right. So hi everyone. Good afternoon. I am Francis Jim Toscano. I'm actually I'm here to share to you about what we've learned about agency. For the past couple of years, I've worked with schools and teachers and school leaders on how to really leverage or make use of technological other platforms for online learning. Even before the pandemic, for the information of everyone, I am part of Xavier School San Juan. I'm the EdTech coordinator and a department chair also in one of the subjects in Xavier School. I have been co-leading the school's one-to-one iPad program even before the pandemic. So we're actually more than a decade already in the use of technology in the classroom. However, one of the things that I've really that was very interesting to me, and I think for everyone also, is that when the pandemic kicked in, a lot of schools actually transition to online learning. A lot, even those who are doing home-based learning or homeschooling, for example, the biggest transition was to actually jump into distance learning that is brought upon or that is enabled by technology. And because of that, one of the things that we have looked into, or the biggest or the three biggest ideas about online learning, based on research, based on extensive literature, is actually there are three important ideas here. Number one, online learning is about interaction. So whether your kids are participating in a synchronous class or online virtual class, there should be interaction that is happening, like a conference. Whether your kids are doing independent learning, there is still some sort of interaction. The interaction in that place actually happens with the content, with the platform that your kids are using for online learning. So when we speak of interaction has three dimensions. It's teacher to student, student to students, or learners to learners, and also learner to the content. Very interestingly, this session is brought to you by MC Education and Optimus. So one of the things that they're actually working on or actually showing us is how we can further enhance interaction between the learner and the content. Even if the teacher, even if you as a parent, you might be very busy at times, you might be at home with your kids, but you might be busy at times doing some household chores or maybe doing work at the comfort of your home. So interaction is very important. It's not only virtual face-to-face, but there are different kinds of interaction. Independent learning for online learning is a component. Of course, independent learning is what we call as it should be developmentally appropriate, which means that the capacity of independent learning is different from that of a 5 to 7 year old as compared to a senior high school or college student. When we speak of independent learning, there's no one size fits all description. What is important here is at some point or in different ways, a student is able to show independence or ability to work on his own in some different forms. Of course, a kinder student or maybe a young learner will have some form of support or needed support from guardians or parents at home, as compared to a senior high school who might be very completely independent. Another dimension that we'll need to look into online learning, aside from interaction, independent learning, is about the idea of connection and community. Education has taught us, even psychology has and researchers has reminded us that education it becomes more meaningful if it is carried through some form of a connected learning, between a teacher, for example, or an agent of teaching. So that could be possibly a teacher or maybe even a parent or a tutor So an agent of teaching who does the teaching skills or teaching expectation connects with the learner, whether at home, in the same place, or whatever. What is very, very important is there's a connection. There's a sense of belonging, a sense of community. In short, a relationship is built. A positive relationship is built so that the learning experiences becomes more meaningful. Let us also remind ourselves when we speak of online learning or in whatever kind of education, we're not just targeting academic learning. We're not just targeting the academic side of education. A holistic education is something that we need to aim for. We need to target. So aside from the academic learning, we look at interaction, independent learning, connection, and community, and how this three also fosters non-academic aspect of education, like character development and those kinds of things. So it's very important that we look into these three things. A lot of you will be asking, well, very important, these three are very important, but what if we are there, the parents are there, and of course we're kind of lost on what we need to do. There might be some parents who might feel that they need to be hands-on, right? A helicopter parent, or maybe a hover tiger parent, or whatever. At the end, you have at the end of the spectrum, you have a very busy parent. Of course, that time may be very challenging. So it's not the support is not there as compared to what is expected of them. But what we've learned really is that because of the pandemic, there is what we call as the phenomenon of changing roles. So parents and home supervisors are actually undergoing a shift in their own role also as home manager or learning manager at home. Interestingly, PISA was mentioned a while ago. PISA is a international, it's called an ILSA, International Large Scale Assessment. The people behind PISA, the PISA is actually given to OECD members. These are first world countries whose education is being measured. Very interesting that we participated in that, and the reflection is that we need to improve the way we teach our students, the way students learn. That is also part of the changing roles of parents and home supervisors. Why? We will find out later that if we don't give our kids agency, if mommy or daddy is always present, answering or giving them, telling them what to do, they will not survive PISA. Even if you're studying the best high standards or whatever, if you don't give your kids agency or ability to answer things on their own, to ask questions on their own, your kid will not survive the PISA test, because the PISA test is higher order thinking skills. The kid has to understand the problem on his own. The kid has to make sense of everything. That's why it's very important to point out that in our topic today, agency is a key factor in making sure that we have students who can learn meaningfully on their own. Of course, we go back to the idea of parents and home supervisors, because whether we like it or not, education at this time of the pandemic has been also put into question. Two spectrums. Number one, you have parents asking, is online learning really effective? And then you have the spectrum even of educators and schools. Are these results or assessment really reliable? Will they be validated? Especially because parents or school leaders and educators, teachers know that parents might be intervening in those assessments that are given to kids, even if we were told to study alone, right? Or to answer them alone. So there are a lot of questions here, but the main idea right now is we need to recognize that parents or home supervisors are actually learning supports right now. You're not supposed to teach. Ideally, in an ideal world, you're not supposed to teach. you're supposed to support. You have to let the kid undergo that printed module, that online module on his or her own. You will only come in if there's a question. But you also need to be careful, because if the questions are always on the track of spoon feeding everything to your kid, then you might have to stop and say, maybe you need to study this on your own, right? So varying degree, again, kinder compared to senior high school or junior high school, varying degree of support. But it's important to always gauge what support will enable agency or independence in that student. You're also technicians. You're also troubleshooters. So when the internet connection goes down, you're there. When student cannot do this, you're there also. But at the same time, on top of this, we also recognize, and kudos to every one of you here, you also do personal and home responsibilities. And putting all this together, we're actually, way upon the parent and even home supervisor. So kudos for those, for all of you, mommies or parents who are trying to juggle all these responsibilities right now. And it's important to realize that despite all of these responsibilities, there is a need to better understand the role of parents to ensure that students are given the space. Remember, our key word is space. Even if the students or kid is at your home, inside your room or whatever, ask yourself, is my kid being given enough space to learn, to make decisions and be responsible of their choices or consequences also? Why? We talk about PISA. Since you brought out PISA a while ago, PISA belongs to an organization that also promotes agency. So by 2030, we should be emphasizing on agency, on giving students the space to learn, to make decisions and be responsible of their consequences. That's part of learning. That's part of performing better in PISA. PISA is not just memorizing or whatever. They need to make decisions. All right? So therefore, how do we enable this? We go back to the idea that we need to give students or our kids at home space for learner agency to be developed. What is learner agency? Learner agency is basically the ability of the student to make decisions, to study and learn on their own, and be responsible of their choices or consequences. Whether it's correct or wrong choice, they should be able to take responsibility for all of those things. So how do we then say, okay, son, daughter, this is your space, but I need to make sure that you can do independent learning, that despite me being here with you, you have to do things on your own. How do we do that? Here are some tips on how we can work on that. There are 3 R's. So the first thing that you need to realize is home is the heart of learning. So you should create a safe and physical and emotional environment by practicing or ensuring the 3 R's. Number 1 is reassurance. The pandemic is so scary for a lot of us. If adults are scared of the pandemic, how much more are the young minds, the young kids at home? So there should be a reassurance, an atmosphere reassuring them that things will be okay. That this is actually a reality that everyone's going through, but we are hopeful. All right? The second one is routines, focuses on routines. Whether you're doing home-based learning, you enroll your kid to a school that does home-based learning, online or whatever, or you're doing homeschooling, routine is very, very important, especially for the younger students. Routines are very important, and they are done in school because it helps build structure with the young kids. Young kids need structure, right? That's their first way of studying, that the society has a structure also, that they cannot just do whatever thing they want to do. Because when they go out and be part of the real world, there are structures to be followed. Therefore, regulation is very important. Regulation does not only mean rules, external rules. We're putting in regulation because we want to teach the kids at home, every learner at home, that that it is important for them to realize what is enough, what is okay, what is not acceptable. It's sort of self-regulation. It concerns self-awareness, very high. That self-awareness is not even an academic skill. It's not an academic skill. It's an essential lifelong learning skill, transferable even when you're adult. So when we speak of regulation, it's not just external rules and regulations that you set at home. It's actually cultivating the idea that students are very aware of themselves, self-awareness, so that they can regulate themselves. All right? So I'm going to go some tips on how to build agency or independent learning in kids, and even creating that environment that would help them. The first one is routine. Help your students or help your child to create and stick to a realistic and manageable routine. What does it mean? Integrate the school or your online learning schedule or your learning schedule, but include preparation time, break time, play time, and leisure. If you're doing online learning right now, break time or rest time should be no tech time. If your kid says, can I rest? Can I take a break? But I want to play Minecraft. Don't allow, because you're supposed to give eye break. Your kid an eye break. You complain about screen time in school, but you allow your kid to play using screens. So what is more important? Using the screen for learning or using the screen for gaming? I think we need to understand that when you set these rules, right, you need to make sure that you help your kid do a manageable or follow a realistic and manageable routine. Okay? So break time, rest time, it's possible to use it for no tech time. Eyes should be resting. Eyes should be resting. It's very unfair to complain to schools, for example, your screen time is very, very long, and yet you let your kid play Minecraft or whatever game that they play, right? So it doesn't make sense, right? If you say too much screen time, then you reduce gaming time also, right? That's part of parenting. Another tip is, again, going back to environment, conducive learning environment. Check your learning space at home. Does it encourage learning? Does it allow for free movement? Is it free of distractions? Or are there toys in it? Are there too much distractions? Right? It's very important that you look at your environment. They said that the first teacher is the parent, the second second teacher is the teacher in school. Third teacher is what's the best teacher? Experience is the third teacher, best teacher. The fourth teacher is actually the environment, because the environment affects the way your kids learn. Kids learn from their environment also. So check your learning spaces at home. Do they encourage learning, or do they encourage gaming, or do they encourage not listening, right? Do they have space for movements so that if they want to stretch, they can actually stretch, or are they very limited into that very tight space? Free of distractions also. Are they free of distractions? Do you keep their toys away from their tables? What are on their table? Do they have their learning materials? So those kinds of things. Learning environment needs to be conducive for learning. As a parent, a learning supervisor, for example, if you're a guardian, take the role of an encourager. Show genuine interest in helping your child learn. Help but not hover. You're not a hovercraft. You're not a helicopter. Diba? Yung helicopter parents. Please don't do that. You have to make sure that there's space. That, for example, your son or your daughter is being given that space to commit mistakes, right? To try, to experiment. The best learners are actually those who are not afraid to take risks. Okay? They should be encouraged to take risks. You should motivate them. But of course, you start with their strengths. If you see that they are not doing well or quote unquote failing, please do not focus on the failure. Diba? Focus on what they can learn from that failure, because failure is very, very important for kids. Okay? You need to emphasize strengths, hope, and positivity. You know, there's a research, a longitudinal research by Time. They focus on valedictorians versus those who were failing in class. Those who graduated as valedictorians, well, they were valedictorians, but when they went to real life, they're the most scared members of a company. Why are they scared? Because they are afraid to commit mistakes, because they were always expected to be perfect. Come on, there's no perfect. You're not a perfect parent. Why do you expect your kid to be perfect? Right? So as compared to students who were failing before, and when they followed them in their life, they actually perform better. They're the one who took risks. They're the one who has been really up in their game, because they were taught to commit mistakes. They were taught to learn from their mistake. They were taught to take risks. Parang yung student lang yan. It's the student inside the classroom. When there is a high pressure to be perfect, I'm telling you now, because I'm also a teacher, those students whose pressure to be perfect are actually those who are very much insecure, scared to commit any mistake in the classroom. They will only choose what is safe, not even to venture out on what is exciting, on what can be explored further. That's a very classic examples. That's a very classic example of how we motivate students by learning from their mistakes. Okay? So take the role of an encourager. Remember, you cannot encourage someone who's really good already. So therefore, if you want to take your role as seriously as encourager, motivate. Look at failure as crucial part of learning. Self-efficacy is part of agency. So self-efficacy is the sense of having agency or control. Does your child have control in making decisions for themselves? Like, for example, if given different opportunities to learn, for example, the topic is photosynthesis, do you let, if the teacher or the module gave your child option to watch, read, listen about photosynthesis, do you give that opportunity for the child to learn and to choose how they will learn? Or do you already make decisions for themselves? There's a reason why teachers or even your modules gave those options, because they believe that when kids are given options, they actually choose what is engaging for them. So the very important consideration here is, when you're managing your kids' learning at home, you do not decide as a parent. Take empathy, practice empathy. Take the step inside the shoes of your kids and think like a kid. Which of this platform, which of these resources given to me by my teacher or by this online module, which of this will actually help me become a better learner? Most of us decide for our kids because we know what's going to happen already. That's okay. That's part of being a parent. But most of the time, it's also important to put ourselves in the position of the kids. That's actually what teachers do. The good teachers in the classroom, whether it's physical or whatever, even those designing learning resources or platforms, they actually put themselves in the position of the students to make sure that when they design all the platforms, learning experiences, students can practice agency or control. Self-efficacy, being responsible, is very, very important. You only build agency when you you allow for independent learning to happen. I'm pretty sure our friends from Optimus and MC Education Hub will speak about this. But build agency by using educational platforms that allow for self-paced or independent learning to happen. So they will speak about some platforms that you can use. But again, self-paced and independent learning goes with agency. And it also goes with choosing the best platforms that will allow this to happen. Again, there's this one thing that we talked about regulation a while ago. Set up rules that are both fair and realistic, especially with the use of gadgets such as cell phone, iPad, or laptop. Here's the thing, and I don't know if you would agree with me, but it's not a mistake. But the challenge really is right now, because we have given the kids their own gadgets as a personal possession, as a gift, they own it, it's harder for us to restrict them. Because we already told them, oh, that's your iPad, that's your cell phone, that's your laptop. If you give 100% possession, especially to younger kids, concerning gadgets, for example, you're actually relinquishing the rights to manage. So the suggestion really is, especially for younger kids, they're not supposed to own their own gadgets because they're too young to regulate themselves. So right now, for example, I hope that because we have undergone online distance learning and you've bought gadgets for them, I hope you did not say, oh, this is your iPad, this is your laptop, this is yours. The narrative, for example, is that this could be, this is laptop, this is your laptop, this is the device, and you will only make use of it as a learning device. That means after school, remove. They don't own it. That's the problem right now because we're too happy to give. We're too happy to give to them their own gadgets. But again, possession of gadgets for young kids actually does not help. It's very challenging now to manage, especially because you planted on their mind that they own it, right? It could be still, this iPad is mine, but I'm just lending you because you need it for school, right? Some things like that, okay? And of course, if you belong to a school, to a community, build a connection. So if you're doing homeschool learning, build a connection among homeschoolers. If you're doing home-based learning and you're enrolled in a school, build connection with the teachers. Very important that you always get in touch with their teachers, their friends, for example, or even as parents, the Viber chat that we have. But please make sure that when you connect with them with the mindset that you're connecting with them because you want to improve learning. It becomes very tricky right now because, you know, you need to be careful also with the information that you send, like Viber chats and all those kinds of things, especially right now. With all that is happening, it's very scary to spread misinformation. I advocate for that, for digital citizenship and stopping for misinformation to be spread. And you know, very interestingly, I've talked to a lot of schools, and one of the most, how do you call that? We're not blaming, but often misinformation is actually easily shared among Viber chat among parents. I don't know. It's very challenging to do that. I'm not saying that everyone is sharing, but we need to be careful with the things that we share online, especially at this time of the pandemic, because any misinformation could be detrimental to our health, to our security and safety. So again, those are the tips that I have. We can talk about them later on, but I just want to summarize all of these things, the tips about conducive environment and all these kinds of things. 3 things: space, support, self-efficacy. Space is your physical space that is conducive. Support is your presence as a parent, as a home supervisor. But despite being you there as a support, self-efficacy. The idea that your kids should do things independently. Very, very important that you allow these 3 things to interact positively with each other. So again, all of those things that I've mentioned, 3 things: space, support, self-efficacy. And with that, I end my sharing. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sir Jim. We will be having our Q&A later on once Miss Anna has finished her presentation. Nako, sir, we've been receiving a lot of comments and questions, kaya mamaya natin pag-uusapan ng mga questions na yan. But for now, we'll be having our next topic with Ma'am Anna Marie Diaz, offsite Singapore-based Marshall Cavendish Education Training Executive. Ma'am Anna?
Okay, wait lang po Okay. Nakikita na po ba yung screen ko? Can you give me a thumbs up pag okay na po yung screen?
Yep, kita na.
Okay. Alright, so good afternoon po sa inyong lahat. I'm Ana Marie Estacio Diaz. I'm a training executive specialized in STEM programs. So nagtatrabaho po ako sa Marshall Cavendish Education and 11 years na po ako dito sa Singapore. I conduct ICT training sa iba't ibang schools mula preschools, primary school, and secondary schools. Nagkakandak din po ako ng teachers training sa mga teachers dito pertaining sa STEM, Google, and Microsoft. So dito po ako para i-share po sa inyo kung ano pa talaga yung online learning management system po namin na ginagamit din po ng mga schools dito sa Singapore. So I will share you a video po para malaman po natin kung ano nga ba talaga si MC EduHub. Let me try again. Okay. Okay, try one more. Ayun. Sorry. Sorry po. I think every time nag-click po. Fast forward po natin kasi kulang po tayo sa time. So sabi nga sa description, si MC EduHub po ay isang multifunctional content repository. So i-share ko po mamaya yung mga contents namin at kung ano po ba talaga yung itsura ng MC EduHub na portal. Okay, so nag-host po ito ng teaching and learning materials. Isang magandang solution po siya for both frontal teaching and self-directed learning, especially sa remote learning. So we have been promoting self-directed learning even before this pandemic. So bago ko po i-features yung mga sample contents namin, gusto ko po muna i-address yung global challenge na hinaharap natin sa ngayon. So in this current situation, so elementary schools up to colleges and universities are forced to transition into online, so or home-based learning or tinatawag nating remote learning. So as we all know, naka-home-based learning pa rin yung mga estudyante sa Pinas at yung iba nga sa kanila, mostly sa mga remote areas, kagaya nung yung sa probinsya namin, ay nakadepende lamang doon sa printed learning modules na binibigay ng mga teachers. Kasi wala silang internet access sa bahay. Kung meron man, mostly sa kanila, ay gamit lamang yung data sa cellphone. Okay. So para maintindihan nga ng mga bata yung module, kailangan pa rin ng involvement ng magulang or guardian para i-guide sila. Okay, so yung pinopromote ni MC EduHub is to retain its core principles of engaging sensory learning o multi-sensory learning rather, na kahit may interruptions man ng COVID-19, patuloy pa rin ang pag-aaral ng mga bata. So for a successful remote learning for students or home-based learning, kailangan po natin ng interactive content kagaya ng first steps or math or science digital suites na nasa MC EduHub. So siyempre, dapat meron din po tayong digital learning management system like MC EduHub. At siyempre, yung guidance and support ng parents like ourselves as we become the key facilitators for our children's learning at home. So, introduce ko po si first steps before ko po i-demo yung MC EduHub later. So, si first steps po from phonics to reading is an effective and unique story-based whole language phonics program. Designed po siya for young children age 4 to 7 years old. Meron po kaming 75 stories inside, 300 plus flashcards, 600 activities, at marami pa pong iba. Meron pang songs, chants, and rhymes. So, yung implementation po namin sa remote learning o home-based learning ay digital reader based po dito sa first steps. Okay, ito po ay nagpo-promote ng parent and child bonding. So let me demonstrate po yung EduHub. I-stop ko muna yung share and then i-share ko po yung EduHub mismo. Okay, let me stop my sharing. Okay. So, okay. So, nakikita na po niyo ba yung MC EduHub? Okay, so sa MC EduHub, kailangan po siya ng account para mag-login and ng access code. So, ito po yung login page namin. So, kapag nakapag-login na po kayo, ito po yung mga content na makikita nyo. So, first, type po natin si first steps from phonics to reading level 1. Okay. Nakikita niyo po ba? Wait lang. Sorry. Okay, tama. Akala ko hindi ko na share. Okay, so ito po yung mga books for level 1. So, try po natin ito. Okay. So, meron po tayong reader. Okay? So, si reader, pag pinas po natin yung play button, yung green button na ito, so mag-activate po si digital reader, which is a page-by-page narration of the whole story. So, itutuloy ko po.
Where is Daddy?
Next.
Danny Duck and Daddy Duck are playing hide and seek. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so next.
Is that Daddy?
So ito po is good for those younger kids para mag-practice yung reading nila and yung phonics nila. So as apart from readers, meron din po tayong songs as well. So dito po meron pong songs button. So original song po ito ng book na Where is Daddy? So let me play po
Where is Daddy? Where is Daddy? Where is he?
So para din po magkaraoke yung mga bata. So yun po yung songs natin. Siyempre, lahat naman po tayo natatandaan pa rin yung mga nursery rhymes and songs natin nung bata pa tayo, di ba? So, and that is because, sabi nga nila, songs are highly memorable and can reinforce children's vocabulary, their knowledge of letter sounds, and of course, the language skills in general. Okay, so aside from songs, meron din po tayong flashcards. Dito po yung flashcards. I think hindi po siya nakikita. Okay. So, si flashcards po, recommended po siya after basahin ng mga bata yung story kanina. For example, yung sa reader. So, nire-reinforce po ng ating digital flashcards yung key phonemes. Okay, dapat i-encourage po. I think yung mga English teachers, alam nila ito. Okay, so dapat po i-encourage po natin yung mga bata na sabihin ng mga target word at yung corresponding phoneme. For example, ito.
Dinosaur.
Yun. Okay. Yun.
D. Dinosaur.
Yun. Para malalaman ko nila kung paano po ibasahin yun. So, meron din pong mini games and activities. Hindi lamang po yung reading. So, meron po kaming mini games and activities. So, ito, each digital games po na ito, nalilink doon sa book, specifically doon sa book na binasa ng mga bata. Gamit ang mga characters and storyline. So magandang tools po ito para i-review yung mga natututunan ng mga bata, yung natutunan ng mga bata. So base po sa example na to, natitest po yung listening and comprehension skills ng mga bata when they need to choose the correct picture that matches dun sa audio na narinig nila. So pakinggan po natin.
Donkey.
So pag narinig po nila yung word na donkey, so ito yung question, listen and choose the picture. So kailangan nilang i-click yung sagot doon. For example, ito. So maririnig po nila yung sound na tong, yung ding na sound kapag mali po yung sagot. At hindi po makakapunta sa ibang game kapag hindi po nasagutan ng tama. Kaya for example, yung anak niyo po click ng click, okay lang. As long, hanggang sa
donkey.
Click po niya yung then mag-move po siya sa isang activity. Yun.
Doll.
Automatic po yun, yung sound. So, pwede nyo rin i-click yung audio button
Doll.
para pakinggan po ulit. So, yan po siya. Okay? So, yan po yung ating first steps, phonics to reading. So, let's move on naman po doon sa math digital suites. Okay, close ko po ito. Okay, worry. So, you can see, madami po kaming contents dito. So, punta po tayo sa math. Mathematics. So, ito po, meron po tayong grade 1, 2, all the way to grade 6. So, yung digital math po natin ay ina-adapt nila yung pedagogical principles ng Singapore math mismo. Okay? So, yung aim po nito para mahasa yung mga estudyante sa problem solving and critical thinking skills gamit yung story-based interactive animation na animated tutorials, yung interactive activities at yung mind-stimulating quizzes. So, pwedeng i-explore ng mga bata yung iba't ibang levels, kagaya dito, at para na rin ma-evaluate nila yung sarili nila na hanggang saan nga ba talaga yung alam nila tungkol sa math. So habang ina-explore po nila ito at pinag-aaralan, mas nagiging independent learners po sila at nag-enjoy din sa kanilang interactive learning experience. So try po natin yung number bonds. Okay. For example, so meron po kami iba't ibang concepts sa math. Similar po sa science, meron din pong warm up, discover plus, apply plus, or discover and apply. So, meron po tayong iba't ibang concept. So, ipapakita ko po kasi sa inyo yung kaibahan ng discover and discover plus. So, let's try the discover first. Okay. Okay, so yung discover.
Some cubes here. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can break 5 into 2 parts, like this. How many cubes are in each part?
Okay. So, yung discover po na components is fully narrated multimedia lesson po siya na may step-by-step animations gamit yung concrete pictorial abstract approach sa math. So, informative video lang po siya. So, parang nanonood lang yung mga bata sa video. Tapos, of course, may maiintindihan din naman sila. So, while yung Discover Plus is also an informative video, pero interactive po siya. Okay, play po natin. Okay? So, interactive animated video po siya na may virtual manipulatives. So, mas lalong, so virtual manipulatives, mas lalong na-engganyo po yung mga bata na matuto. So, pwede nilang i-click yung isasagot nila sa question. So, for example, i-click po na ito. So, as you can see dito sa track po ng video, may mga small white dots po. Yan po yung embedded na virtual manipulatives kung saan lalabas po yung question. Okay? Yan po natin na.
Hey, we need to tidy up the room. Let's begin. Do you know how many balls there are?
Okay. So dito po, i-click ng bata kung alam po ba niya yung sagot. Kung alam po ba niya kung ilang bola meron dito, is it minus 1? Pag no po,
no? Let's count together. 1, 2, 3.
So for example, yes po yung sinagot ng bata.
Do you know how many balls there are?
Yes.
You do? Great. Let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yan po yung mga embedded. So sa Discover po, wala pong ganyan. Parang informative video lang. Again, sa Discover Plus, meron po siyang embedded na virtual manipulatives for interactive content. Okay? So, meron din po tayong components na apply and apply plus. So, yung apply, meron po siyang step-by-step framework provided po yung mga sagot para i-encourage naman yung self-directed learning. No? Kahit wala si mommy or wala si daddy, alam ng bata kung saan siya nagkamali at alam din niya kung ano yung tamang sagot. Okay? So, kaya po parating namin ini-encourage yung mga bata sa self-directed learning kasi mas natututunan nila, mas nag-aaral sila na sila lang mismo. Siyempre, pag nagkamali sila, kailangan nila ng tulong ni mommy at daddy, yun, saka na po yung support ng parents mag-i-involve doon. So, ito po, kunwari, yung question, fill in the blank. So, look at the cubes and complete the number band. So, yung sagot po, itatype mismo ng bata. Kunwari, yung sagot niya for number bands, kasi dito may illustration naman. So, dito 5, sa taas 2, and then dito sa baba, merong 3. So, kunwari, grade 1. So, hindi alam yung sagot kasi grade 1, diba? O, kunwari, sinagot ng grade 1, 4. So, i-check niya, meron tayong show answer buttons kung tama nga ba yung guess niya na sagot or hindi. So, pag click mo yung show answers, automatically lalabas yung number 3 na sagot doon. So pwedeng i-correct ng bata yung sarili niya. Sabi niya, oh, yeah, mali ako. So, dapat A. Then, go to the next. Ganon din. So, dito, ika-count ang bata based doon sa Illustrator. So, ito po yung apply na components. So, sa Apply Plus, meron po siyang multiple examples. So, sa Apply Plus, more on video, interactive video din po siya compare sa habang yung Apply is parang Illustrator lamang and then itatype lang ng bata kung ano yung isasagot niya. So, try po natin yung Apply Plus. So, interactive video din po siya na maraming examples. Okay? So, this is to promote integration of information and construction of knowledge. Meron din po siyang embedded na virtual manipulatives to provide scaffolding sa mga bata. Step 1. Magpupunta po siya dito. Ayun.
The bathroom is clean now. Let's take a look at the things found here.
Okay. So pag na-hover po natin yung mouse, ito po, pag pinopoint ko po yung mga objects, nag-highlight po siya, and meron mga questions po dito. Kung i-click po natin ito.
Complete the sentence.
Okay, so kailangan ng bata sagutin dito, yung sa text box. Kung hindi niya alam, 2 or di kaya 4. Then meron po ditong check button, i-click niya to check kung tama po ba yung sagot niya or
That's not right. These are the parts and whole. Try again.
So, yung parts na ito. So, kailangan yung i-count kung ilan po ba ang towels meron doon. So, ito try niya uli. Kunwari, alam niya mag-count. So, 5 and yung isa dito. So, 1. So, check niya uli.
Wow, you are good.
So, again, hindi po siya makaka-proceed sa next hanggat hindi po niya makukuha yung tamang sagot. So marami pa po siya. Pwede niyo pong i-click ito.
The bathroom is clean now. Let's take a look at the things found here. The bathroom is clean now. Let's take a look at the things found here. Complete the sentence.
Yun. So i-count ulit yung hairbrush kung ilan meron doon. So pag alam ng bata i-count yung mga objects, so pwede rin, for example, yung nasa floor is only 3. So, what makes it 7? So, 4. Okay, then check.
Wow, you are good.
Okay, so yan po yung ating math digital suites. And let's move on po sa science digital suites. Okay, kasi po we're running out of time. Okay, punta po tayo sa science. Okay. So, sa science, try po natin yung grade 4. Okay? Alright. So, student-centered content naman po and user-friendly interface, yung science digital suite po namin, ideal po siya sa home-based learning. Okay? Or self-directed learning. So, yung mga topics po namin ay naka-arrange according sa international science curriculum. Meron din po kaming supplementary materials to supplement learning at comprehensive science solution kung saan ang mga bata ay matututunan ng science by doing and being engaged in active learning. So, try po natin yung light. Okay, reflections of light. And then last one, same components po ng math. Meron po siyang Discover Plus and Discover, tsaka Apply and Apply Plus. Since science po siya, meron din po siyang e-experiment. So, try po natin yung Discover muna. So, okay. So, yung Discover, meron po itong animated tutorials para i-explain yung concept, kunwari, yung concept ng how light is reflected. So, this can support learning and exploration of relationship between concepts and real-life scenarios. So again,
light bounces off objects, can be reflected into a mirror, and then into our eyes, allowing us to see them. When placed in the correct position, mirrors can help us see things that are not in our view. With one mirror, we are able to view objects that are out of our sight in one corner.
Okay, so same po sa math, yung Discover po niya, parang informative video lang. While yung Discover Plus is more on interactive. And meron din po tayong Apply. Okay. Yung Apply naman, ito yung interactive games para naman ma-apply ng mga bata kung ano nga ba yung naintindihan nila about dun sa reflections of light. Okay? So, natitest po yung ability and understanding nila of the concepts.
Andy is standing in a hallway. Help him see the different objects in each room from where he is standing by using the mirrors. Click a grid to place a mirror in the hallway. Click the existing mirror to rotate the reflection of the light coming from the different objects towards Andy to allow him to see them. Place the mirrors in the correct positions for Andy to see the bicycle.
Ito po yung first task. So, kailangan po nilang i-click yung square kung saan nila ilalagay yung mirror. For example, Dalawa po. Ito po yung sinagot ng bata. I-check niya kung tama po ba.
Try again.
So, pag mali, ito try again. Mali. So, hindi po siya makakapunta sa second task if hindi niya nakuha yung tamang.
Good job.
Kakapipili po niya kung ano yung reflection. Okay, so yan po yung ating apply. And lastly, meron po tayo e-experiment na component kung saan meron po siyang okay, meron po tayong videos to demonstrate kung paano po i-conduct yung science experiment from start to end. So, makikita po natin dito, mag-guide yung mga bata kung ano yung mga materials na gagamitin nila sa experiment. At nandito din po yung procedures ng experiment, ng result or observations, and of course, yung conclusion. So, kahit maliit na, kahit short video lang po siya, nandun na po lahat.
In this experiment, you'll need a mirror, a card, and a torch. Cut a narrow slit on the card.
So yung cut, ito po yung procedure ng experiment.
As shown. Switch on the torch and shine the light through the slit. Place the mirror in front of the beam of light that goes through the slit. Observe what happens to the beam of light. The path of the light changes its direction.
So ito naman yung observation o yung result.
When it falls on the mirror. This is because the mirror reflects light.
Okay, then ito po yung conclusion dun sa experiment. So yung mga iba't ibang components na meron tayo. Okay, meron din po kaming worksheet kung saan, for example, solar. Okay, may mga worksheets din po kami na pwede nilang i-download or kaya i-print. And meron din po kaming mga mini games na component. Okay? So, okay, since wala na po, okay.
Listen to the sentence carefully and select the item that fits the description. These are rocky objects found mostly in the belt between Mars and Jupiter.
So, isi-select po ng mga bata kung ano po ba yung guess nila, yung sagot dun sa question.
Incorrect.
Yun, may incorrect.
Give it another try.
So, yan po yung mini games natin. Okay? So, aside from phonics reading, first steps, phonics to reading, math and science digital suites, marami pa po kaming content sa loob ng MC EduHub. Okay, so we have thousands of contents. We have 2D, 3D design, pangbata din po, elementary to high school. Pwede pong gamitin ito. Paano po mag-design ng 2D and 3D. Meron din po kaming UBO, block-based programming. Similar po siya sa Scratch coding if yung Pinas is meron ng Scratch. So meron din po kami dito UBO and Python and many more po. Okay, so let me stop my share first. So, may mga parents din po kami. Wait. Okay. May mga parents din po kami na nakapag-try na ng MC EduHub at nagbigay po sila ng testimonials nila. So, maybe i-share ko sa inyo yung last na po Okay. Okay. Last one. Okay. Okay.
Hi, I'm Micah Binghay, a mother, and as I can see, your reading program is great. It is so easy to follow. At every step, it guides me on exact what I have to do. And because it doesn't take much time, it is easy to incorporate into our busy schedule. Most importantly, of course, is that it works. I've also been amazed at how it holds my daughter's interest. My daughter is learning to read and he loves it so much. And so by that, I highly recommend the MC EduHub for a job well done.
This is Mommy Ann. I would like to share to you how grateful I am to MC EduHub Ways of Learning, for they have different activities suitable for young learners nowadays. They have creative and lively approach which efficient for my son in order to learn. I have 7-year-old kid and I tell you, it's not easy to catch his attention. He cannot concentrate during study time. He always finds lots of excuses in question and answer part of study. In this stage of childhood development, we need to find and create various ways and colorful ideas if we want our kid to indulge themselves into good learning habit. The reason why I am so happy and excited for MC EduHub Ways of Learning because it brings big help for me and for my son.
Hi everyone, I'm Maria, nurse by profession, and now working as a police nurse in Philippine National Police. I'm a mom of 4 lovely daughters. My eldest is a twin, and they are 13 years old, and the middle one is 4-year-old, and the youngest is a 3-month-old. In this time of pandemic, it's very efficient to have or practice home-based learning. I'm one of those parents who would love and enjoy learning time with my kids. This kind of way of learning is very useful for me as a mother because I can multitask. For example, while cooking, I can tend to their concerns about their education or about the topics of their learning activities. This home-based learning will be easy and fun for our children and also as parents because we could use the new technologies, so it will be easy for them and for us on how to handle the home-based learning.
Hi, I am Mommy Salvi. I am a math teacher in junior high school and I have 2 daughters, ages 4 and 2. And as a working mom, I can't give more time to teach my kids because I have lots of concerns and work from school. How ironic, right? Plus, household chores and alike. I am thankful that you have this kind of learning portals wherein my kids can watch and learn even without my supervision. Even if I can give my full attention in the learning process of my kids, still I can monitor their progress by watching them answering the quizzes.
Dr. Iselin Hebrio, a mother of 2 kids, an incoming grade 7 student, and a preschooler. I have tried the learning portal and I find it effective in developing the students' skills through the use of their well-structured reading materials, lectures, and quizzes, making the students more independent, capable, confident, and competent at school.
And there we have it. Thank you very much, Miss Em. Sorry po, I have to cut you in kasi marami tayong questions. Ang daming, we've received a lot of comments. Very grabe, sobrang overwhelming at kinikilig. Na-excite din ako because I'm also a tutor and some of my tutors use Marshall Cavendish Education.
Mm-hmm.
So, nakakatuwa that this is very interactive. At syempre, bago ang lahat, we'll be pausing for a very quick break. But syempre, ito mga mommies, at tanong ko lang sa inyo, sawa na ba kayo sa mababang ranking ng ating edukasyon? Kabado ka ba na kulang ang edukasyon na natatanggap ng iyong anak? Strengthen your child's education foundation kasama ang Marshall Cavendish Education. Marshall Cavendish Education ang partner ng Ministry of Education ng Singapore na consistently nagttop sa international educational rankings ng buong mundo. Ang Marshall Cavendish ay may MC EduHub learning platform na naglalaman ng Singapore curriculum na may digital suite math, science at English na nakita natin kanina firsthand na ni Ma'am Ana Marie sa atin na makakatulong sa ating mga anak. Abot kamay na ang Singapore Quality Education nang hindi na kailangang mag-abroad with Optimus-Marshall Cavendish EduHub. Meron po tayong mga special discounts and pricing para po sa mga kamomshies natin. Abangan niya na i-announce yan maya-maya. Kaya tara na. And of course, Marshall Cavendish Education Hub and Optimus Innovative Technologies Corporation innovating Philippine education together. Maraming salamat, and we will now be having our Q&A. So I'd like to ask Sir Jim and Miss Anna Marie to join me here on screen para naman babasahin ko po ang mga katanungan ng mga mommies natin para po sa ating mga speaker. Okay, let's have our first question. First question po natin ay mula kay Mommy, sa Zoom po ito galing. Mommy Melanie Claire Visbal. How can we encourage learning? This is for Sir Francis, Sir Jim. Sir Jim, how can we encourage learning with such limited resources?
I think that's a wonderful question. Here's the thing. Learning, access to learning, access to good resources is a factor. But I just want to share to you my own experience. Provinciano po ako. So I'm from the north. I'm from Abra. And when I was growing up, I didn't have access to the internet. I didn't have access to computer. Right now, all kids have access to, almost all, whether we like it or not, they have access to cell phones. Very simple device. So I think the question really is, these are platforms, these are resources. Yes, they can help. But like what I've said a while ago, if you've noticed, I gave to Anna all about the technology and the platform. What I did was to actually focus on the role of parents and role of the environment. Because even if your child is working with the very best platforms like MC Edu, if there's no support at home, it will not work. That's why I love this opportunity, because I'm speaking with parents. I'm speaking as someone who's working with parents and with schools. I'm also a teacher. So the big idea really here is, if one is not participating well in that, stakeholders, whatever, it's really difficult for us to ensure the best form of learning for our kids. In the end, I'm a digital consultant also. In the end, we'll have technology, we'll have the platforms. They will change over time, but it does not guarantee great access for better learning. In the end, that's why I emphasize role of parent, role of the environment, and then comes in the resources and everything. Just to tell you also, even the way, if you're a tutor, if you're a teacher, or a parent, even the way you teach is very, very important. Do you know why Singapore and other countries are #1? Because they went beyond memorization. If you belong to that, if you are part of a school that emphasizes memorization, or if you're a tutor or a parent who sees someone who memorizes the whole book as the smartest kid, remove yourself from that kind of thinking, because Google is there. It's easy to pull down information. PISA tests, since we're talking about it, are not about memorization. They're about application. So if you're helping your kids learn, go beyond asking what is that, when did this happen? Ask your kid how, why, if you are going to apply what you've learned. And here's the thing. I've been speaking to parents and even tutors and others. They love to teach about information, but they give up when application comes in. You know why? Because it's difficult for them to teach their kids about application. That's why kids have to listen in school. That's the big thing right now about learning and all those kinds of things. Very important. If you look at MC Edu, for example, the things that they were showing, they start with asking the basic information, but then in the end you get to see questions asking how do you solve this problem, what happens if. Those are higher order thinking skills. If you're a teacher and a parent, you would understand this. But if you're a parent and you've seen how MC Ed is showing us like how to teach kids to do higher skills, that's the way to go. That's the way to go, really. Of course, it would be good if your kids memorize this or not. But again, even in the order of knowledge, in education, memorization is the lowest form of knowledge. The highest form of knowledge is creation. So hopefully that gives us some idea on how to guide our kids to become better learners.
Yes, thank you very much, Sir Jim. This is my question, ang katanungan din ng ibang mga mommies natin para kay Miss Ana. Ma'am Ana, ano po ba yung meron po kayong ibibigay na 250 pesos off for our 100 participants dito sa Zoom? Please tell us.
Si Sir Paul po.
Sir Paul? Okay. Sir Paul, our from Optimus Innovative Technologies Corporation. Sir Paul, can you tell us ano po yung magandang surprise po ninyo sa mga mommies natin, lalo na yung mga nasa loob ng Zoom?
Yes, good afternoon sa lahat ng mga mommies natin na nakikinig ngayon. We are distributing through this program to our fair 250 pesos vouchers, 100 pieces of 250 peso vouchers para pong discount sa mga interesado na mag-apply and get their own accounts with the MC EduHub. And in addition to that, ma'am, that is not even the big news. There's an even bigger news that we have prepared.
Wow!
Yes, it's an even bigger news that we prepared for the members of FHMOMS only.
Okay,
only for the members.
Members ng FHMOMS. So kahit wala sa Zoom yan, Sir Paul, no? Yung mga live na nanonood sa Facebook din and YouTube. Tama po ba?
Yes, ma'am. In fact, it has taken us a while when we were asked to submit yung our offering to the members. It took us a while and really had to negotiate with our partners to make it very, very affordable to our mommies. Alam naman namin, lahat na challenge ngayon, ayaw na namin magdagdag pa ng burden sa iniintindi na additional malaking gastos ng ating mga magulang. So, we've always wanted to make these breakthrough technologies in education available to our Philippine schools and now directly to our Philippine parents. So, we are announcing that FHMOMS members would avail of an account for their kids at only 5 pesos and 40 centavos per day. 5 pesos per day. This is even less than your 1 Jollibee per month, no?
Wow! Talaga ba, Sir Paul? Nakakatuwa naman.
Yes, ma'am. And lahat po ng members ng FHMOMS lang ang may ganyang pricing. Okay. So the other available options for them would actually itong mga ganitong rates which will be around 19, mga isang buwan lang po yan. Ito po, pag 19, isang taon na po yan. So 160, 170 a month lang po. Konting barya para sa dagdag na access ng ating mga anak sa napakaraming resources ng Marshall Education EduHub.
Okay, so ulitin natin, Sir Paul, ha. Para po sa mga mommies na nasa loob ng Zoom, you will have your 250 pesos off when you avail the courses ng Marshall Cavendish Education Hub. Tama po ba ako? Okay. We already have the list ng mga nasa loob ng Zoom, Sir Paul, so we will just forward it to you. Tama po ba ako nito, sir, no? Kung if ever they wanted to purchase the courses. But for all FHMOMS, lilinawin ko yung mga nagtatanong sa Facebook. Yung mga nagtatanong sa Facebook, ay sayang Zoom lang, hindi po. Meron pong ibinigay na discount promo, may promo na regalo ang Marshall Cavendish Education Hub and Optimus para sa ating lahat, exclusive for FHMOMS members. So they can avail it at 5 pesos, 5 point something. Can you say that again?
Yes,
Sir
it's
Paul?
5 pesos, 42 centavos per day, or the equivalent of 1,980 pesos a year. Buong taon na po yan. Buong taon
Okay.
na po yan.
Buong taon, and it's an annual subscription, 1-year access for all the materials of Marshall Cavendish Education Hub. 1,980 pesos only. Tama po ba ako?
Lagyan ko lang ma'am ng clarification, math, science, and English with Coco ang kasama po doon. And yung sa level na a-applyan ng bata, if he's grade 4 materials of the 3. Kung grade 1 materials of the 3. Yun po.
Okay, grade 1. So, pag for grade 1, lahat po ng math, English, and science, 1-year subscription for a year, 1,980 pesos. Okay. Sir Paul, sorry ha, medyo kulang yung oras natin. Can you please share with us how can we like and follow your social media accounts ng Optimus and Marshall Cavendish? And siguro yung pong mag-a-avail ng annual subscriptions natin, maybe we will post about it, an announcement sa ating group sa FHMOMS group para makapag-sign up yung mga interested na mommies natin. Tama po ba ako, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay po. Sir, yes po. Your quick message, and please invite our mommies, FH titas sa lahat ng nanonood sa atin. How can we connect and follow your social media accounts and website? Saan, ano-ano po ang mga ito?
Yes, ma'am. Ang website po natin, Optimus-PH.com. Ang ating pong Facebook page is facebook.com/optimusph.com. Yung may mga pwede po mag-message sa atin, mag-chat yung mga interested so that we can reply to your individual concerns, more focused on your particular concerns. Na mas ma-address namin yung mga tanong nila.
Very nice. Naku, nakakatuwa naman. Such a great news from Optimus and Marshall Cavendish Education Hub. Ulitin ko lang po, you can find Optimus Innovative Technologies Corporation on Facebook. That's facebook.com/OptimusITC. And also, you can like and follow the Marshall Cavendish Education, facebook.com/MC Education, and the website. Ito po yung website specifically para po sa Philippines. That is www.optimusph.com. Sir Paul, Miss Anna Marie, and Sir Jim, maraming salamat po for having you with us today. And thank you sa good news na ibinigay po ninyo para sa FHMOMS community. And see you around. Maraming salamat po. Bye-bye po.
Maraming salamat din po.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you very much. Maraming salamat po. And I think meron din kinoment din dito si Sir Francis Jim, si Sir Jim. We will also announce that later on. He has a Spotify and Apple podcast, mga mommy. So if you want to learn more of tips, 'di ba? Ang dami nating natutunan today. So sa mga mommies, diyan lamang kayo. We'll be playing our AVP video for our sponsors. Let's watch this. Diyan lang kayo, tutok lang kayo because we will be having our raffle pagtapos po nito. Let's watch this. And there you have it. We are back on Facebook and also the Zoom. Hello sa mga mommies natin. Gagawin nating mabilisan ang raffle na ito. But first, we would like to thank all our sponsors, ACADS-PH, Bright Minds, Optimus Innovative Technologies Corporation, Marshall Cavendish Education Hub, STEM Minds, Tinker House, The Class Air, The Reading Project for making our Learn from Home School Fair here at FHMOMS a success. Maraming salamat po. Ready na ba kayo with our raffle, mga momshies? Ready na ba? Ready na? Kasi alam ko na excited na kayo. Marami tayong ipapamigay. Pero gagawin natin ngayon is Yung ibang nating mga prices, i-allot natin later. Kaya sana samahan niyo po kami mamayang 6 p.m. kasi we still need to prepare para po dun sa 6 p.m. natin na webinar. Kaya naman randomizer, i-play mo na. We will have 2 FHMOMS loot bags, one sa FB, one sa Zoom. At saka, yung nabanggit ni Sir Paul na Optimus account na worth 1,980 pesos. Meron po tayong ipapamigay, isa sa Zoom at saka isa sa Facebook. Okay, gusto niyo yon? Alright, let's start na. Medyo bumabagal na, kapit lang tayo. Kapit lang tayo internet, okay? Go na. Okay, dahil umuulan dito sa amin ngayon. Randomizer, play na natin yan, go. Kapit. Zoom, get ready. For Zoom only po Zoom muna. Mamaya po yung sa Facebook. For Zoom po muna, get ready. Change mechanics po tayo. Natin. Okay, sayang naman no, kasi wala sila. Baka po nagkaroon ng problem with the internet connection. Okay, sige. So let's see. Okay. Mga mommies na nasa loob ng Zoom, you have to mute yourselves ha. Random po namin tong pipiliin kung sino po ang panalo. Random chosen. Right after, mute po. Paki-mute po mga mami. Pag-mute po tayo. Maraming salamat. I-mute po natin. Salamat. Po natin. Pa-mute po mga mamis. Okay, right after this line, and wait for my signal. Wait for my signal. Ang panglima, okay, ayun po. Mamis, paki-mute po muna. Mute po. Mute. Ba't po natin? Para po marinig po ako. Maraming salamat. Salamat. Mute. Mute po muna mga mami. Yan, very good. Isa pa. Okay, very good. Okay, after this line and wait for my signal. Wait for my signal, and after this line, pakitype po. Fifth na magta-type. Fifth na to comment. Fifth sa chat box, ha? Sa chat box. This is for Zoom. Ang itatype nyo po, wait for my signal after this line. Thank you, Optimus and MC EduHub. Thank you, Optimus and MC EduHub. Wala pa po. Okay. After this line, wala pa po. After this line, ready. Wala pa pong signal, mga mami. Ready. Get set. Wala pa po. Okay, hintayin natin matapos to. Matapos yung line, mamis. Sige po, ayan, very good. After this cue, ayun pa, isa pa. Okay, after this cue, and this line, ready, get set, go! Panglima po. Ayan na, ang ating moderators po ang mag-check kung sino po ang mananalo. So, vini-verify pa po natin. Sa Facebook, don't worry. Mamaya po kayo din, meron po tayong game. Meron po tayong game for Facebook. Meron din pong game. Wait lang po dun sa Facebook. Zoom po muna. Ayan. Okay, so sino po ang panalo? Vini-verify pa po ng ating mga moderator. For Zoom only. After this, meron po tayo sa Facebook at YouTube naman. Okay. Sino ang panglima na nakapag-comment? Okay. Mami Teofane Bunayog, congratulations. Unmute yourself po, Mami. Mami Teofane Bunayog from Zoom. Are you here?
Yes po.
Yay! Congratulations! Meron po kayong loot bag from FHMOMS. Okay, salamat po. Okay, now for Facebook. Sa Facebook po tayo, Facebook and YouTube. Mommies, get ready. Ang pang-anim po na makakapag-type nito, po nito, mga mommies, pang-anim po 6 to comment. 6 to comment, i-check po natin based sa screen ng moderators natin. Ita-type nyo po after this line, and after my cue na ready, get, set, go, sabihin nyo po, see you later at 6 p.m. See you later at 6 p.m. So yung mga GCash and iba pa nating ipapamigay, bibigay natin yan mamaya sa raffle. After po para po mas mahaba yung oras natin. So pang-anim po na makakapag-comment, based po sa ating moderators na screen, may loot bag po kayo. Ayan. Meron po kayong loot bag. Okay, pang-6 po to comment. Moderators, chine-check na po, bina-validate na. Siguro mamaya dun sa ating Optimus account, gawin natin ding game na lang para mas exciting. Ayan. Okay, pero randomly chosen. Okay, Mami Chengjel. Please say present.
Present po, nasa Zoom.
Ay,
and
Zoom.
Facebook and Zoom.
Oh.
Yes po.
Wow. Sige po, bibigyan na natin to sa inyo pong FH.
Thank you.
Bag. Maraming salamat po. Ayan,
Thank
very
you
good.
po.
Okay, so, moderators, mamimigay pa ba tayo ng Optimus account o mamaya na? Sige, mommies, don't worry, yung mga kasama po at nag-pre-register, kung gagawin natin is, meron po tayong mga utang kasi it's already 5:39. Pasensya na po kayo, mami. So we have to cut na po para makapag-prepare pa po kaming mga moderators. Yung moderators natin and also dun sa next session natin. So yung dalawang Optimus account ay ibibigay po natin mamaya after po nung ating STEM Minds na webinar. So okay lang kung nasa Zoom kayo ngayon or nasa Facebook. So sige, kahit saan, iaano natin, basta kasama namin kayo mamaya, okay lang po yun, wala pong problema. So, mommies, I'd like to ask you to open your cameras. Then, open nyo na po ang inyong mga cameras. Gusto lang po namin makita ang mga mukha ninyo at i-congratulate po kayong lahat kasi kasama po namin kayo simula pa nung launching. Ayun, na day 2, maraming salamat. Thank you po. Show your best smile. Ayan, okay lang po kung hindi po ma-open. Bubuksan po namin at 5, hopefully at 5:45 ang ating Zoom for STEM Minds, 5:45 p.m. After 5 minutes. Mag-aano lang tayo. Magbe-break lang po tayo. So, moderators, please let me know kung nakita niyo na po ang mga mukha ng ating mga, ayun, si Mami Nencheng, talaga namang naka-cellphone na at naka-zoom pa. Very nice. Maraming salamat po sa pagtutok sa amin. Okay, so first slide muna, first batch. Show your smiles naka-screen, magsa-screenshot tayo. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ayan, thank you very much. And isa pa. Okay, isa pa. Second slide po tayo. Medyo bumabagal na po ang aking addiction. Ayan, pasensya na. Okay, next slide po tayo. Second slide. Ang kita man ni Liam, si Del Liam, naka-smile pa. Second slide tayo. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. Okay, and next. Third slide po tayo. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Ayan. Okay, next po tayo. Fourth slide na po tayo. Wag mo na pong aalis And our fourth slide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and our fifth slide, wag mo na pong aalis. Wag mo nang aalis. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Wag mo nang aalis, itatry nating i-stream kayong lahat, mami, sa ating StreamYard para makita po ang mga mukha po ninyo. Okay, wag pong aalis. Ayan, ako, kaway. Isa pa, 1, first slide, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oo naman, Mami Maria Lorena Leonardo, pasama po kayo. Sama kayo dyan. Hi, isa pa, next tayo, next slide, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Opo, lahat po, heavy rain here. Naku, okay lang po yan, Mami Gail, ang liwanag. Okay, next slide po tayo. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Ang ganda ni Mami Zenet, Kitang-kita ang kanyang pagka-blooming. Si Mami Eden din, napakaganda ng mukha na kanyang smile at mukha. Grabe. Okay, last slide po tayo. Salamat po. 2 minutes na lang magbubukas sa yung Zoom natin sa kabila. So join us po ulit mamayang 6 p.m. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Muli po, maraming salamat mga mommies. Hanggang mamaya po, 6 p.m. See you po. Samahan niyo po muli kami for another set of webinar. Mamayang 6 p.m. Thank you po. Thank you everyone and have a great day. Salamat po. Bye! Unmute niyo na po. Pwede na po kayo mag-unmute.
Bye-bye! Nasa FHMOMS Radio habang ika'y nagre-relax sa bahay mo.
FHMOMS Radio, changing lives, one mom at a time. Moving forward, giving back with FHMOMS Radio.
Tara na pumutok na sa FHMOMS Radio habang ika'y nagre-relax sa bahay mo. Marami kang matututunan dahil di lang basta chikahan. FHMOMS Radio, mga mamshi ating to.
Tara na mga mamshi, mami, nanay o mama, andito na ang FHMOMS makakasama. Ang online radio na magbibigay advice at mga kwento na siguradong mapapanay. Ito ay hindi lang basta mga chikahan. Andito sila upang ikaw ay gabayan, turuan ng mga tips sa paghahanap buhay at maging isa ka sa successful na nanay. O diba? Kaya saan ka pa? Basta na ikaw ay momshi, dito bida ka. FHMOMS Radio #1. Ito ang online radio ng sangkanan na yan. Di ka lang basta nanay, ikaw ay super nanay. Para sa pamilya ang lahat ay iaalay. Lahat ibibigay, lahat ay kayang gawin. Ang iyong pagiging nanay lalo pang palakasin.
FHMOMS Radio.
Tara na tumutok na sa FHMOMS Radio. Habang ika'y nagre-relax sa bahay mo, marami kang matututunan dahil di lang basta chikahan. FHMOMS Radio, mga mamshi ating to. Mga mamshi, tara na, dito'y bidang-bida ka. Ipagmalaki natin na tayo'y magigiting na ina. Mga mami, tara na, dito'y bidang-bida ka. Ipagmalaki natin na tayo'y magigiting na ina.
FHMOMS Radio.
Tara na tumutok na sa FHMOMS Radio. Habang ika'y nagre-relax sa bahay mo, marami kang matututunan dahil di lang basta chikahan. FHMOMS Radio, mga mamshi ating to. Tara na tumutok na sa FHMOMS Radio. Habang ika'y nagre-relax sa bahay mo, marami kang matututunan dahil di lang basta chikahan. FHMOMS Radio, mga mamshi ating to.
Tambay na! Nagbabalik ang FHMOMS Radio.